जयति पराशरसूनुः सत्यवती हृदयनन्दनो व्यासः यस्य आस्यकमलगलितं वाङ्मयममृतं जगत्पिबति भुजगभोगाभमुद्यम्य हृद्यं निजभुजं दक्षिणं लक्षणाढ्यं ललितमुद्रिक्तविज्ञानमुद्रं भज भज अनन्तमित्यालपन्तं प्रणतवान् प्राणिनां प्राणभूतं प्रणतिभिः प्रणये पूर्णबोधम् भवदवोष्णेन तातप्यमानान् भुवि परं नाथमप्रेक्षमाणान् भुवनमान्येन च अन्येन दोष्णा भवतु भीर्मा इति नः सान्त्वयन्तम् प्रणतवान् प्राणिनां प्राणभूतं प्रणतिभिः प्रणये पूर्णबोधम्.
Chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita begins with this statement from Bhagavan Krishna. Urdhvamulam adashakam ashwatham prahuravyayam chandamsi yasya parnani yastam veda sa vedavit. The material world, prapancha, is like a banyan tree, ashwatha vriksha. It has its roots above and branches hanging upside down. The tree is the microcosm as well as the macrocosm of the universe. If you understand the structure of the banyan tree, you can understand the universe's workings. Understanding things at the microscopic level is essential to understanding the world's working at the macroscopic level. Sri Madhvacharya has stated this in his Gita Bhashya. If one needs to understand the Paramanu, means the atom, one must understand the entire world, Vishwa. Atoms have unique structure. Madhvacharya again stated in the 13th century that there are particles smaller than Paramanu, subatomic particles, although we may not be able to see them. Another discovery of Madhvacharya is about the nature of the sky, and he stated that the sky had an invisible color. Today, we understand that there are ultraviolet and infrared rays in the color spectrum. Thus, our ancient saints had made fundamental discoveries for which we do not give them sufficient credit. Another book by physicist Fritjof Capra is Tao of Physics, or the Vedanta of Science. In the book's foreword, he writes, "Sitting on a beach, I had a vision of the entire world's destruction, and only atoms were left in the world. I had the vision of Shiva dancing." He also states that Western science had been unable to prove the truth of fundamental scientific facts, and that scientific discoveries of truth originated from intuitional flash. The truth appears to the mind from within based on intense contemplation. For example, Newton discovered the theory of gravitation while sitting in an apple orchard and observing an apple falling and contemplating the reason for its fall. He did not do numerous experiments beforehand to discover the truth about gravitation. Thus, Dr. Capra urges us to look at the monks of the East for answers to fundamental questions of life, as they had discovered fundamental truths thousands of years ago and contemplated the dialectical nature of the movements of fundamental particles at the subatomic level. Thus, our ancient saints had developed the capability to look deep inside and use our third eye to discover fundamental truths of nature. However, it is a forgotten technique due to time, and we now use Western education methods to learn from textbooks rather than contemplation. Another example is the instincts of animals. A cat that has to feed several babies can run out of breast milk. In such cases, it will go out to the backyard and find some specific grass to chew on and enable its milk production. So even the cat understands the nature of its body sufficiently to take corrective action on its own to handle its problems. Another fantastic incident that I had read in a book published by a practicing doctor comes to mind. There is a new tiled house that a gentleman built near the bottom of a mountain. Since it has a tiled roof, the monkeys in the forest could get in by removing some tiles and raiding the kitchen regularly when the owners were absent, and this became a massive nuisance to the owners. One day the owner decided to scare the monkeys by mixing poison in a bowl of porridge, or we call it as paisam, and keeping it as bait near the opening in the roof where the monkeys would enter. To their utter disbelief, the monkeys did not fall for the trap. The ringleader of the monkeys smelt the bowl and did not drink from it. The rest of the monkeys followed suit. The ringleader made a trip to the forest and came back with a stick with which it stirred the bowl and drank the porridge. The ringleader was unaffected, and the rest of the monkeys followed suit. The owners who were watching this action figured out what was happening. When they chucked the stick, it was from the root of the castor oil tree, an antidote to the poison. Instinctively, the monkeys know how to detoxify a bowl of paisam or kheer or porridge mixed with poison. And we as humans do not understand despite all of our advances in medical science. Near Nagarahole, there is a forest area, and the indigenous people who live there are known as Kudimalayaru. They live in the wild in harmony with nature. The government of Karnataka provided tiled homes for their use, including a school and a hospital. But these facilities are in disuse. The Kudimalayaru are happy with their place in the jungle in their thatched huts. They know how to treat their injuries on their own. Here is an example. Before my visit, a bear attacked one of them and injured the head, resulting in a portion of the scalp coming off. When they brought the injured person to the hospital for treatment, the doctor told them he needed plastic surgery and extensive long-term care. They refused the treatment and took the injured person back to their home and treated him with traditional medicine made from the products available in the jungle. In 1 week, the injury was healed. We call ourselves civilized, but we cannot survive in the jungle even for a short time without catching some ailment. We have lost our ability to live in harmony with nature. In his best-selling book from the last century, Man the Unknown, Nobel laureate Alexis Carrel gives an account of what is known to man and what is unknown to the human body. The foods we consume in modern times are highly denatured and have very few vitamins. We do not get good nutrition from the rice we consume, as the grains are polished during the processing and lose all the nutrients. We take the nutrients separately as vitamin supplements, a pathetic state. Carroll further elaborates that we as humans used to have the ability to deal with the common cold when we lived in harmony with nature. We lost the natural resistance to the elements as soon as we started to hold an umbrella to protect ourselves from the rain and moved into an air-conditioned house. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Krishna says, those who are entirely devoted to me and meditate on my form, I protect them by providing what they lack and preserving what they have. Yogakshema is a beautiful word. Getting what we do not have is yoga, and preserving what we have is kshema. Krishna gives a picturization of the world for us. I am behind this entire cosmos. You are a perishable kshara, just like a tree. One day, the tree will fall. The banyan tree, which has the roots above and the branches hanging down, is like the entire world. What does Krishna mean by this? Humans have roots of knowledge above in our heads. Our branches are the arms and legs which hang below the head. The Bible symbolizes the human form as the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The word for banyan tree in Sanskrit is ashwatha. It means that which does not have a tomorrow or is transient. Thus, our life on earth is very transient, like the banyan tree. Another meaning of the word ashwatha is that which resembles a horse, a symbol of motion. It is constantly moving its limbs, and thus the world is always in motion. Also, the word ashwa means that which can run very fast. So the horse represents that which can move very fast, which was a vehicle of choice in the olden days. Comparing the human being to a horse means that our mind also runs very fast like a horse. Thus, there are multiple meanings for the word ashwatha. By comparing the universe to ashwatha, Krishna means that the universe is constantly in motion. It is here today and may not be here tomorrow. Although it is perishable, the imperishable Lord is permanently residing in it. By comparing the world to the Ashwatha Vriksha, emphasis is on the non-permanence of the Vriksha, which is the tree, which may be here today and potentially destroyed tomorrow. The banyan tree has roots above and branches below. The root of all creation is Bhagavan, who is above everything else. All of his creations, that includes humans, animals, and etc., are like the branches hanging below. And this verse is an excellent example of the richness of the Sanskrit language. There is a saying in Sanskrit, all the Vedas have at least 3 meanings. Each shloka of the Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita has at least 10 meanings. Each name in Vishnu Sahasranama has at least 100 meanings. And this is not an exaggeration. As we saw above, the word Ashwatha has multiple meanings. Another parallel for the tree are the numbers from 1 to 10. When you add the numbers 1 to 10, you get the sum 55. Let us see how the tree stands for the numbers 1 to 10. The tree gives two kinds of fruits called dvipalaha. One is the fruit of the material world through the path of pravritti, and the second is the fruit of the spiritual world through the path of nivritti. According to a mantra in Sanskrit, there is an old female goat which is tricolored. It has skin of three colors: red, white, and black. It is always pregnant, giving birth to more goats with the same three colors. There is another male goat which is forever emotionally attached to the female goat. Then another male goat turns away from the old male goat, seeking its path. In this example, the word used for the goat is aja. This word also means that which has no beginning. Thus, the goat also stands for Prakriti, which has no beginning. The three colors refer to the three gunas, qualities in us: sattva, rajas, and tamas. Thus, the Prakriti is constantly engaged in the creation, and its creations have the three qualities: sattva, rajas, and tamas. The male goat attached to the female goat shows that one group of people constantly immersed in the transactional world and very much attached to it, enjoying life's simple pleasures. The third goat that turns away from those two goats represents the other people who are not attracted to worldly pleasures, seek a different path, a spiritual path, and finally attain moksha or liberation. Thus, we should choose a path according to our nature. Does that mean only sannyasis attain moksha or liberation? Not, says Sri Madhvacharya, and clarifies that a grihastha can attain moksha. Let us examine how the numbers are in the banyan tree example. 1 is Prakriti, which has no beginning. 2 is Dviphala, or two fruits, Pravritti and Nivritti. 3 is Trimulaha, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. 4th is Chaturasaha. The two fruits, Pravritti and Nivritti, have 4 types of rasas or flavors. We pursue these flavors: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. The number 5 is Pancha Shikaha. There are 5 root-like branches. When we compare ourselves to the banyan tree, our 5 branches are Shabdha, the voice; Sparsha, the touch; Rupa, the beauty; Rasa, the taste; and Gandha, the smell. These are the 5 means of perceiving and enjoying the world through the sense organs. The 6th is Shadatma, 6 layers. We go through life in 6 stages: Asti, Jayate, Vardhate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, Nashyate. Asti refers to the beginning of our existence in our mother's womb. Jayate refers to the birth stage. Vardhate is the stage when we grow from birth to a child. Viparinamate is the growth from childhood to adulthood. Apakshiyate is the stage of growing old, graying of hairs, developing wrinkles in the skin, etc. Nashyate is the final stage, when we dissolve into the earth. 7th is the Saptatvak Datavaha, which are the 7 layers of the tree, starting with the outer bark: Tvak, Charma, Mamsa, Rudhira, Majja, Medas, and Asti. Humans also have these 7 layers. Tvak is the upper skin and charma is the inner skin. Mamsa is the flesh. Rudhira is the blood. Majja is fat. Medhas is the marrow. And Asti is the bone. Now we come to number 8. Ashtavitapaha. In the banyan tree, there are 8 kinds of branches facing down. Deva, God. Danava, devil. Gandharva, angel. Rakshasa, giants. Pishacha, ghosts. Prani, animals, birds and etc. Sthavara, mountains, trees and etc. And Manushya, humans. Now we come to number 9, Navakshaha. There are 9 openings or holes in the tree. In humans, these openings are the sense organs and the organs for excretion. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the mouth, the genitals and the anus. Then we have 10 leaves in the tree. These are the 10 indriyas or the sense organs. 5 organs of perception called gnanendriyas and 5 organs of action called karmendriyas. When you add the number 1 to 10, you get the number 55, which is the number for the prapancha or the world. When Krishna said Urdhvamulam Adashakam, the root of the whole prapancha is God above all and the world is below with the branches hanging down. Kathopanishad refers to Ashwatha as the transient and eternal ones. Yasho Ashwatha Sanatanaha. Although it sounds contradictory, it is very true of the Ashwatha tree. Although our physical form changes, our consciousness is eternal. When the tree gets old, it is either cut down or falls due to storms. Then the wood is burnt for fuel. The ashes from the burnt wood fertilize another plant, and one can get roses from that plant. Thus, the forms of the jiva are constantly changing, which is Sanatana. The waves keep forming, cresting, collapsing, and dissolving in the ocean, and the waves are Sanatana. In Kathopanishad, when the god of death Yama asks Nachiketa to ask for anything he desires, Nachiketa replies, "When there is no guarantee of a tomorrow, anything you give is temporary. What is the use? I am not interested in getting anything. I will lose someday. And I am only interested in knowing the eternal truth." Today, we have reduced ourselves to a state where we depend on procuring external objects to satisfy our desires. With the development of new devices and technologies, the world is progressing rapidly with the constant barrage of commercial advertisements to proclaim the advantages of the latest inventions and technologies. Our human nature attracts us to these objects to fulfill our desires. But they are inadequate in providing eternal happiness or contentment, which is only possible when we start inquiry and introspection of our true selves. Our ancient seers knew of our human nature and have prescribed a spiritual path to achieve eternal bliss. Bhagavan Krishna urges us to be content and learn to be happy internally with or without external objects. His analogy of the Ashwatha tree is a great way to understand the transient and eternal nature of the prapancha.